welcome to my live stream. I know this looks a little bit funky, but for some reason, I have done a live stream every week since 2020. Never had a problem. Today, I had a problem. Don't you love it when you don't change anything and it breaks? Hopefully you can see me, even if it looks a bit weird. Fingers crossed. We have never had this on any live stream in the last 5 years. I actually did my first live stream in 2017. So I don't know why I'm zoomed out. I don't know why this is the camera, but this is the best that I can do. Crazy. Hope you guys are okay. I don't think I can put your comments on the screen today, so I'm going to do my best to answer as many as I can. I have just got back from a mystery cruise, so that's very, very exciting. A cruise where we didn't know where we were going. In theory, we didn't know where we were going until we got there. Till we literally arrived. They didn't do any announcements, anything. So it was with Fred Olsen, the British cruise line, Fred Olsen's Borealis, and it was a really interesting cruise, not just because of the mystery itinerary, but generally just because of the cruise. Also this week, very, very busy week in my life. We have launched a membership over on Cruise Globe, which is very, very exciting. Want to be as clear as possible. Cruise Globe is still free. The whole aim of everything is to keep it free to use, but we do have memberships now. So we have extra things going on. I'm going to do some content on there that's not anywhere else. We have different discounts and things, but I would love to have my normal kind of graphics on the screen, but today's not the day. I don't know why I'm in a picture frame. I don't know why the font has changed. So strange. But as long as you can see me, as long as you can hear me, I will just have to read out the questions. So how long between the ports? So we had a 5-night cruise, and I have no idea why it's like this. You guys are just going to have to deal with it. This is the best that I could do. Do you know how stressful it is to be here and to see the number of people waiting and you just can't get the camera on? Stressed. It's okay. I'm glad I'm here in some form. But anyway, it was a 5-night cruise. We had 2 port days. We had 2 sea days. So we had excursions that you could buy, but it would just say port 1 and port 2. So it was all sort of very vague, cobbled streets, town squares, that kind of thing. And we were trying to work it out. But yeah. Yeah, it is not vertical. That is true. I do know that StreamYard has added something where you can do vertical video at the same time. So I don't know if it's related to that. It seems like a coincidence that they added that today. And this is what came up. Yeah, please be patient with me, please. Yeah, I just assumed, crazy, but I assumed that because I had done something every week for 5 years that I could do it again. But things change that aren't in my control. So there we go. There we go, but we're here. Am I interested in the latest Electric Sunsets cruise that was announced by Mela for 2027, 80s versus 90s? I don't think I'm going to take that cruise, but I think it's a very, very good cruise. I have done 2 90s cruises with Mela. Great fun. If you can get a group of friends to go, really, really cool. But I have done it before. Hopefully you guys can see the stream. I still see some people asking where the stream is. I think it's in the original place now. I don't know. Was that appealing? Do you mean, was the cruise appealing? The mystery cruise? It was, yes. I mean, for me, I don't think on paper Fred Olsen are the cruise line that suits me necessarily. Like, they do table sharing, not just at dinner, but also lunch, breakfast, fixed dining times, formal nights, very traditional cruise line. The average age is quite a lot older than me. But that didn't really matter at all. I went on this cruise there were 4 of us, so we didn't table share with anyone else at dinner. We had a table together. That was good. Fixed dining was fine. I didn't understand, the comedian makes jokes about TV shows that probably stopped 30 years before I was born. But that's not the point, right? The main thing is the crew were really nice. The ship was really well looked after. The food was really good. It was my second Fred Olsen cruise. Yeah. How does it feel sailing on Fred Olsen without getting seasick? Amazing. So good. The first time was the most seasick I've ever been in my life. I honestly doubt if it was seasickness now because I was really quite ill. I've never been that ill from seasickness before or after. But yeah, I did the Northern Lights in March. That's kind of on me. Had fun looking up who Fred Olsen is. Yeah. Fred Olsen... we did make some jokes about how, you know, they're trying to get the age down, I think, on Fred Olsen. I didn't meet Fred Olsen, but we could rebrand it to like Freddie Youngson. That's what we came up with. If they want a version that's younger, not saying that they need to. I think if there is a cruise line where you want the crew to help you put on your coat, like Fred Olsen is the perfect cruise line for that. Yeah. Where did this mystery cruise stop at? So we had Bruges. No surprises there. From the second that I booked this cruise, I was like, it's going to Bruges. Let's be honest, 5-day cruise from Portsmouth. When do they not go to Bruges? They almost always go to Bruges. And also Hamburg. So that's nice. How long did it take to get in Hamburg? In Hamburg, as in from the port, or like the sail-in to Hamburg? Because the sail-in is really long and nice, but it's dark. If you go for Christmas markets, it's going to be dark the entire time. We watched the sail out from the restaurant. That was kind of nice, but it's dark. It's dark. We were very lucky. We docked in the port that is right in the middle of town. I've never docked there before. I've docked, I don't know how far away it is, but you need a shuttle bus. I docked there with MSC. I docked there with P&O. I've docked there every time I've been to Hamburg. But this time we docked right in the middle of town, straight into a shopping center, and we could just walk off. So that was really, really nice. I do like Hamburg a lot. I like Germany a lot, generally. If I like Fred Olsen, I'll like Ambassador, says Jamie. Maybe. Time will tell. Time will tell. As you know, I did try to cruise with Ambassador. I have never been to the miniature museum. No, Miniature Land in Hamburg. I have not. My friends who I was on the cruise with, they did go there. The thing is about that museum, you quite often have to pre-book it, and we didn't know where we were going. So in terms of pre-booking things, it's kind of tricky. Not impossible, because the thing is, I run a website called the Cruise Globe, which tells you where a cruise ship is going before it goes there. So you could look and you could book tickets, which my friends did do. Yeah, my parents did Ambassador. They did, and they didn't take me. They did not take me. No. Yes. Was this the smallest ship you've been to Hamburg on? Yes, the smallest ship for sure. It has just over 1,000 guests on the cruise that I was on. I think it can hold 1,400, which is still fairly small by cruise ship standards, but it's more than we had on there. We had just over 1,000. I think it's a really interesting idea from Fred Olsen, because the cruise that was before ours, well, it was in dry dock, so it wasn't on a cruise. It was having some refits. And then after our cruise, it's doing 2 weeks cruises, back to long cruises. So they probably had this awkward 5 days in the middle where they were like, we could sell this just as a Northern Europe cruise, or it could be a mystery cruise, which is exactly the same. They don't have to change anything, do they? It's still a cruise. And people will buy it for the mystery. It was kind of the similar price to a normal 5-day Fred Olsen cruise. It wasn't cheaper. It wasn't more expensive. Fred Olsen aren't cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think they want to be or need to be, So, yeah. Is it better for a small 1,000 person ship, medium 3,000, or mega 5,000? I don't think there's a better. There's 3 people asking me that question, and for one person, the small is the best, and one the middle is best, and one the biggest is best. So, yeah. Looks like the Cruise Globe does not recognize charter cruises like Bliss Cruise on Celebrity Reflection. It should do. It has no idea. It has literally no idea who runs that cruise. The only thing it knows is this ship has this number, and we are getting the information from that. So if you put in Celebrity Reflection and the dates, it should come up with that. I see no reason why not. If ever you find any that don't come up, just send us an email. hello@thecruisemaps.com is the best email, and we'll have a look. But Cruise Globe has literally no idea. Sometimes I get messages and it says, I stayed on for 2 cruises. How do I do that? Or I got off partway through. How does it know? It doesn't know anything other than what you tell the website. If you say that you got on and you got off 2 months later, like, we're going to believe it, because some people do. If you say you got off after 1 day, it believes it. It just fills in the gaps. It's just data. It's just a computer. It doesn't have any, it doesn't know the planned itinerary. When have you found the most optimal time to buy a cruise to get the best price? So probably the opposite of what I did for this Fred Olsen cruise, which was about 2 months before. That's probably the worst time in terms of price. And I could have got it cheaper if I booked it 2 years ago. Well, they probably didn't launch this cruise 2 years ago, but whenever they launch the cruise, that's normally the cheapest. And then last minute is pretty good. But last minute, this cruise, I think, I don't know if I would have been able to book it because it did get pretty popular. So it's always a risk. I would say if price is the only thing you care about, because far in advance as possible as you can. If you can also be more flexible, wait until a month, then have a look what's around and then go. But most people can't do that. So that's why, most people need to book a year, 2, 6 months in advance. That's it. The Northern Lights were here last week. Very nice. Or this week. Interesting. Yep. What did you think about the shows on the Fred Olsen cruise? I thought they were brilliant. I think they were much better than the shows that I had on Fred Olsen before, and I can't really describe why. It was the same sort of thing. It's very traditional cruise ship, singing, dancing, songs, costumes, feathers, that kind of thing. I like it. I know not everyone likes that kind of thing. But something has changed, definitely, and I much prefer, I think it was just a better quality, the ones they had this time, than on my first Fred Olsen cruise. Apart from that, there was, the usual comedians, that kind of thing. We did have an orchestra on board, which was very impressive, very, very cool. And then, a guy who plays piano, a trio of strings, that kind of thing, house band. There was a lot of live music on there. Cruising from Reykjavik, is it better to be there the day before? I definitely would. Yes. Yes. Just yes. If you can, yes. Ken Goes Cruising, nice to see you. Excited about the Cruise Globe membership. We'll have a closer look later. Thank you very much. It's very exciting. As you can imagine, we have a team of 25 people who run the Cruise Globe now. We have customer service, we have people answering the emails, people checking the maps. We have checked and sort of, sometimes they need an edit because they may be missing data, but over 100,000 cruises have been checked by human beings. And I'm sure you can imagine that is not free. We want to keep the website free. We want to keep the app free for everybody, but it is definitely not free for us. Definitely not. So we were faced with a situation, do we decide to charge everybody for it? Don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that. Or do we add more things? And then the people who want the more things can get the more things, and we can, we're always up for sort of changing the perks as time goes if there's certain things people want. But I think that is just a nicer way to do it because we can manage everything as it is now. We can keep things going. It's not going to disappear. Don't worry about that. But the speed at which things come up for new things, the ideas everyone has, the ideas we have, if we want to go faster, then we need some support on that. So that was the thinking behind the memberships. It's very similar. I know quite a few of you in my Patreon. It's kind of like a Patreon for Cruise Globe, if that makes sense. So when you share things, it'll have like the little gold shiny, logo on it. And we have a little chat that's just for members. And we're going to do like a live stream podcast kind of thing. So it's going to be good fun for sure. For sure. Iceland is great. Yes. So I took a cruise to Iceland quite recently. I do have another one booked, actually. I really liked it. Ooh, a shiny. Yeah, like a shiny Pokemon. That's it. Oh, I got my Rolo a couple of weeks ago. That is awesome. I have seen the designs for the next Hudson and the next Rolo. I thought I would display them all in order here. This is all the versions that we've had. I think this is the right order. Let me know if these two are in the right order, because I'm not sure if we did formal night or Hawaiian shirt first, but this was definitely the original. Then we had the one with the cookie in his pocket. Cookies on Fred Olsen, amazing. So good. More like thick sugar biscuits, if you know what I mean by that. And we have formal night, Hawaiian shirt, captain's uniform, and then Rolo here. So cute. Do I buy cruise stocks? I did in the pandemic, at the lowest of the low points, buy Carnival stocks so that I could get the onboard credit, and I have definitely made my money back just in credit. So that was one good thing. Oh, Jack says, my first mate Rolo was waiting for me when I came home from 24 days in hospital. My goodness, I hope you're okay, but very glad that he was there for you. That's really, really nice. You'll need a bigger shelf. Yeah, I do have another shelf here, so we can just, we'll just move on to the next shelf. Yeah, they're not normally here, but I thought that would work. I thought that would be pretty cool to see them. I didn't know that I would be zoomed in a post box. That's different. And I also can't put any of the questions on the screen, and I can't do any of my overlays, and I can't do anything. So that just means I'm relying on you guys, who are the moderators in here, even more than ever, because I can't share any of my links. So my main one is thecruiseglobe.com/membership. Easy peasy. That's the main one for the day. How easy is it to get to the Christmas markets in Hamburg? Do you need a shuttle bus or can you walk? Yes, and also no. Depends where your cruise ship docks. I would say if you're going with P&O, MSC, any of the big cruise lines, you need a shuttle bus. The cruise line will put it on. It'll be, £10, €15, something in that range for a return. It's usually pretty easy. It's not that far. It's just, it's like industrial, if that makes sense. Today is just Emma, and I'm fine with that. Thank you very much. Thanks. You can see all the questions in the chat, and you are monitoring for nasty trolls. Thank you very much, Lou. I really hope this fixes before next week, because I don't like being in the box. I'm also, the camera is different. Everything is different, but it's okay. I just promise for these live streams, all I'm saying is I'm going to be sat on the sofa, and if you want to hang out with me, you can hang out with me. That's it, right? It doesn't all need to be so shiny and fancy. So that's cool. Aw, really need my Emma time this week. Well, I made it a few minutes late and not in the usual setting, or I'm in a box. New Jack in the box. Yeah, exactly. Good to focus on the most important part of the live. No distraction, says Jamie. Yes. It also means I'm looking at like the last comments only. So yeah, if you have a question, please do put it with question in capital letters, just so I can see, what is a question that's coming by. And I was luggage last week. Yes, that is true. We did have a lot going on last week. So maybe it's nice. Maybe it's nice just to calm down. It has been a really busy week. It has been a busy week. And then also next week, Black Friday is coming up. So lots and lots of prep for Black Friday. Where are my pets? Rolo is on the sofa, partly under an electric blanket. I have to unplug it, obviously, when I leave him there alone. I don't think you should leave a dog unattended with an electric blanket, but he loves it. He loves it. So he's there. He's all snug. He's probably wondering why the blanket's not warm anymore, but, sorry. And Hudson is around. He has been in here for some dreamies already, so he might come back. The dreamy tub is right here. But that's all you can do to summon a cat. So we will see. Last live, you were in a suitcase. Today, you're in a box. What will it be next time? I have no idea. I didn't choose to be in the box. I chose to be in the suitcase. Sometimes these things just happen. Yeah, crazy. I'm definitely not giving advice about when is a good time to buy shares. That is not this channel. And I do have some accounts that impersonate me and try and give out advice on cryptocurrency and investing, and that is not me. That is definitely not me. Not me. Yeah. The pets aren't real. They're AI generated by Emma's live streaming software. Can you imagine? I mean, Hudson's been on the live stream. His first appearance was 2017. So he's been a long time on the live streams. I see one comment that just says, I've asked 2 questions and done nothing to be blocked. I will just say I completely trust the moderators who look after these chats. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the moderators. So I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing the link to my cruise insurance. Yes, please. On my Fred Olsen cruise, this happens quite a lot. People think that it doesn't happen, but we had a helicopter evacuation. And looking on Cruise Globe, I have all my cruises on Cruise Globe. 1 in 7 cruises that I've been on, we've either had a helicopter evacuation or we have detoured to drop someone off on land. So that's 1 in 7 where I know that someone had to be taken off. But if I was in port for the day, someone would just leave. An ambulance would come or something, but they would just go. So in reality, it's probably double that, right? So 1 in 3 cruises I'm on, someone has to be medically disembarked, which is not that surprising. So please get insurance. That's where I was going with that. Definitely get insurance. I like the one that says, I have asked 0 questions, done nothing to remain unblocked. 1 in 7, yeah. 1 in 7, as far as I know, because I can see, on Cruise Globe, that is the real route that the cruise ship took. So I know which cruises I've been on where we were going, and then we went like that to drop off someone, sometimes in the middle of the night. So you can see all of those things on Cruise Globe. Yeah. Asked a question, but not had an answer because I'm not a member. I don't even have members in here. Like, that's not a thing. So if I don't answer your questions, probably because I have many questions that I'm trying to read all at once. And ideally, if it starts with question in capital letters, it is as short as possible so I can read it while talking. And also I want to answer it. Like, I'm not going to answer every question I don't want to answer. Have you ever been a pier runner? No, I'm the opposite of that. I'm someone who is back on board years and years, hours and hours before the ship sails, because I'm not risking being a pier runner at all. Yeah. What do people get if they join the Cruise Globe membership? So we have the same sort of thing that I have inside Patreon: bronze, silver, gold, different levels, different perks. The highest one has like dinner with me and the Cruise Globe crew, which is pretty cool. But you get sort of a private chat where, we just have us and a smaller group, discounts, on the physical cruise maps, all kinds of things depending on the different levels. So check that out on the actual website. I think that's better. thecruiseglobe.com/membership. And yeah, you'll see in like our little Facebook chat, it has the little badge on it. So it'll say member. And when you share your cruise passport or your cruise cards, that will say the membership on it, which is cool. How does the new collaboration feature, like you did with Norwegian Cruise Line, work for you as a creator? Got to be honest, I think it did absolutely nothing. Nothing bad, nothing good, nothing changed at all. My views seem kind of normal. The comments seem kind of normal. I thought maybe it would get more views on the content that's on Norwegian's channel because it has me more sort of attached to it, but it seems exactly normal. So, yeah, like happy to use it again. Nothing bad happened, which is good. So, yeah. Jamie says, I'm imagining Emma putting an Iceland pizza in the oven for the top tier. Well, I wish, but Iceland, as we know, did get rid of my favorite pizza about 2 years ago, and nothing has come close. I'm very sad about it. Very sad. Yeah, a comment saying had a evacuation on 2 cruises, one by Coast Guard boats and one by helicopter. Yeah, it happens a lot. It just statistically, if you put 4,000 people and you watch 4,000 people for 2 weeks, so like some things are going to go wrong. It's not that surprising. I do always see the news articles that say the shocking reality of cruises and the shocking truth. The reason you shouldn't go on a cruise, people die on a cruise. Of course, it doesn't make you immune to death. Like, I don't think that's a surprise. It happens at the same rate as it would if you weren't on the cruise. Does that make sense? Yeah. What level gets you karaoke with Emma and the team? I mean, for karaoke, there would have to be a new tier that is, I don't even know what we would call it. I don't even know. None of my real friends in, family or anyone has karaoke with Emma. So, yeah. Do I want to go on an expedition cruise, like one to Antarctica? Yeah, never say never. There's so many cruises that I want to do. And, if I look at an Antarctica cruise, that's going to be 20 times the price of any other cruise that I would do. And I'm quite happy, bobbing around Northern Europe on Fred Olsen, or, taking an ambassador cruise or an MSC cruise or a Royal Caribbean cruise or a Norwegian cruise or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't see that it would be my choice. I would love to do it. I'd love to review it, for the channel, but it would definitely have to be me working with some sort of cruise line to show you guys what it is. Because, yeah, I think if you've researched any of this yourself, you will understand. 355 watching and only 126 likes, it says. Yeah, if you can like this live stream, that would be good. That's quite a few people less than we normally get on the live stream, but that's probably because I'm in the box and it looks weird. But you guys who stuck around, you don't mind me being in the box. So appreciate it. You guys are the real ones, the real ones. Have I done ambassador yet? apart from my 1-day ambassador cruise, that's all I have done so far. I do have an ambassador cruise booked. So I will let you know. I will let you know. Thoughts on Carnival's new non-alcoholic drinks package? For me, I don't think it makes sense because I'm not someone who, I don't care really for, hot coffee, speciality, anything like that. I really just want soda, maybe like some mocktails, things like that. So for me, it normally makes more sense to get a soda package. I got Carnival soda package. That was pretty good. That wasn't too expensive. Yeah. If you don't hit the like button, Emma's mum will shout at you, says the comment. There we go. My mum says I might. Yeah. Emma in a suitcase box and a virtual box. Yes, very true. You usually miss your live streams, but here we are. Well, you have picked a weird one to come to because I'm not normally in this weird box. But I can't get rid of the box. And I also can't click on anything. So I'm just here. I feel like I'm being watched. I know you guys are always watching, but it feels more like being watched rather than presenting. Does that make sense? I don't know. I did see a question going by asking about Fred Olsen and their soda. And I'm very happy to say, at the beginning of the cruise, I thought they just had Diet Pepsi on Fountain. But at the end, I found out they had Pepsi Max in cans, which is the dream for me. It's a very, very British cruise line. I had a toad in the hole for a main, which is amazing, which is nothing to do with toad, just in case you're wondering, I'm not eating a toad. I had a toad in the hole in the main restaurant. I had custard creams in the buffet. And when I came back to the ship, they handed out hot blackcurrant squash. Amazing. Amazing. This comment says, Emma, you were always in a box. That is true. You're probably watching this in a box, unless anyone has some sort of technology to make holograms and things. It feels like we should have holograms by now. But maybe, you can watch these in VR, but I'm still in the box, even if you're in VR. Do I have a favorite Mela ship? Says Roger. I do actually now. I haven't had one before. Up until this year, I had been on the 2 Explorers and the 2 Discoveries, and I thought they're all pretty, they're pretty the same sort of size, they have the same sort of venues. And I went on Voyager this year, and Voyager is my favorite. So yes, she's my favorite, mostly because of the buffet situation. I just thought it was so good, so nice. But final answer. It's so nice to have a solid answer. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. All main dining rooms and buffets should have free Pepsi Max. I would love that. I don't think it'd be very good for my health because I would be like, I want to get the most out of the free stuff. Whereas normally, main dining room, the tap water is there. We're trying to drink water with meals. I think that's a good idea, right? Will I avoid Carnival now they've switched to Coke products? No, I definitely don't. I definitely don't book a cruise line because of the drinks at all. Yeah. Coke Zero is fine. It's just not Pepsi Max. What makes the buffet situation so good? It was kind of more like a food court. You know how it's very trendy to have a food court style buffet now where there's different sections. There's like roast dinner section and, salad section, bread section like that. And it's served to you. And it's all like, they even had plates of what the meal should look like. If you want that plate, you just say, can I have that whole thing? And then they'll put everything together for you, which is quite nice. That's not what I do in the buffet. I'll go to 7 different sections and put everything together on a plate, but you can do that. You can do that as well. It doesn't stop you doing that. It was just really nice. Roger says we saw the Cruise Globe. Amazing. Yeah, we have Cruise Globe t-shirts, of course, and we now have Cruise Globe jumpers. We have Cruise Globe winter range. So I was wearing them on the Fred Olsen cruise, and some people came up to me and said, like, oh, I love your app and your site, and it was so cool. So cool. Even when I met crew, they would be like, oh, I see you with the maps and the app. Yes. So cool. How was the buffet on Fred Olsen? So good. The food is very good. The custard creams, the cookies, amazing. We didn't eat there for dinner, but we did go there for late night snacks, lunch, and breakfast. The thing that puts me off about Fred Olsen's buffet is that they seat you in the buffet. They seat you, which is very different from most cruise lines, because most cruise lines, you get your food, you wander around trying to find a seat, but Fred Olsen, you go in and they say, oh, for 2, and then they put you in a seat for 2. which means more table sharing than I would normally do. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. And it is nice that you don't have to find your own seat. But sometimes I just want to go in and pick up some custard creams and then leave. And I sort of always have to explain, like, oh, I'm just passing. I'm just passing. I do that quite a lot. Had to Google Pepsi Max. Yeah, it's so good. It is amazing. It's the best drink. Missed the beginning of the live stream. What cruise did you go on? So I've probably explained my whole setup has gone wrong today. So that's why I'm in a box and everything looks weird. I did the same live stream every week for 5 years, and this week it didn't work. So we'll say that first. But I took a mystery cruise on board Fred Olsen's Borealis. So you might recognize her. She was an old Holland America ship. She still looks very Holland America-y. But really well looked after ship, considering she's like late 90s kind of age. Nothing was damaged. Nothing was, they've done a really good job with her, I think. If you like that ship as Holland America, you'd be very happy. Was I the youngest person on Fred Olsen? I'm sure not. I'm not that young, but if I saw someone my kind of age, I would take note that there's someone else there my kind of age. That makes sense. It's not, I'm not the target market normally. And that's totally fine. There's no problem at all. Is Pepsi Zero now or still Pepsi Max in the UK? They are different drinks, I'm afraid. I have been in the States and had Pepsi Zero, but it is not Pepsi Max. Nuh-uh. JB made me laugh while I'm drinking my squash. At the end of the live, Emma's just going to close the flaps of her box. I don't know how, it'd be cool if I could, grab and pull in, wouldn't it? That would be cool. That's got to be the future. More like hand gestures and stuff. That would be cool. There's nothing going on here. There's no, thumbs up or anything that it does on Zoom. Yeah, nothing like that. It looks really weird to me, this live stream is flashing, kind of. I'm not sure if you can see that. But we made it. That's the main thing. That is the main thing. But I really hope it goes back to normal. So, interesting. But yeah, please do put question at the start. I know I always say that it's important to put question at the start of the questions, but it's just right now I can't even see anything other than the last 6 comments. So it's even more important. Don't go just really fast though, because otherwise I won't be able to read anything. I don't like to sit here and pause and read. It's very strange. Very strange. But yeah, overall, fantastic cruise. I really enjoyed it. It's not one on paper, I think, that suits me, but the things that they do really well, they do so well. And I felt really just the crew were genuinely having so much fun, the entertainment team, and you sort of wanted to be friends with them and be involved in that. The silent disco and stuff was so much fun. The dance floor, the observation lounge was always full at midnight. It wasn't as if everyone was sleepy and going to bed early. Everyone was having fun. The observation lounge was lovely. I do miss it. A lot of cruise ships now, they don't have any sort of bar or lounge up high. It's a very traditional thing, I think, to sort of have at the front a big observation lounge with glass windows all the way around. They do have some more modern cruise ships, but it's kind of died out, which I think is a shame. It's one of my favorite things about cruise ships generally, sitting up there and just seeing the view. So cool. Can I make a video on cruise essentials? I'm pretty sure if you just Googled Emma Cruise's Cruise Essentials, I have a video and it's literally 5 things. The only things that are essential, this is testing my memory, but the only things that are essential, your passport, your travel insurance, some way to get money, cards, stuff like that. That's literally it. If you have those 3 things, you can buy anything else. The only essentials are things you can't buy. If I had to carry on, I think it would be travel adapters. I think they're quite important. A toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, hairbrush, clothes, shoes. That's about it. You could get by, A cruise is not that different from real life. You're still getting up and you're still doing the same routine. So if you just look at what you're doing every day, they're the main things that you need. But that's more the kind of content. Packing kind of stuff is more the stuff that I would do on my website. So if you go to emmacruises.com, I do have packing lists on there. Normally it's split by destination. So if you put in British Isles, I have British Isles packing lists, that kind of thing. Would a Mela mystery cruise appeal more to you? That would be fun. That would be cool. That would be kind of a bit more of a mystery, because this one, it was 5 days from Portsmouth. So realistically, how far can you get from Portsmouth and back in 5 days? It's going to be Northern Europe, perhaps Norway, maybe British Isles a little bit, but it's not going to be, you're not going to end up in Tenerife because you can't get there in 5 days. If you were to do a Morella one, you could fly down to the Canary Islands, you could fly to Spain, you could fly to the Caribbean, and then it would be maybe a bit more of a mystery. Fred Olsen do longer mystery cruises. This is the shortest one that they do, as far as I know. But normally they go from the north of the country. So when I saw one down south, I was thinking, yes, very cool. What is the name of the ship on the top shelf behind you? I think it is Emerald Princess. So I did a British Isles cruise on this one. Nope, you can't see it. But anyway, it's a good one. Sometimes the quality are not so great, but they have actually painted all the lifeboats on the lifeboat. So that's good. Put that one back there. Howdy to my favorite person in the UK. Wow. There's a lot of people in the UK, so that's a big compliment. Thank you very much. Imagine getting on a plane and not knowing where you're flying. Yeah, I did see a lot of questions being like, how do you know what to pack for a mystery cruise? Like, very easily, to be honest, because I knew what cruise I was going on. I knew that it was a Fred Olsen cruise. I knew the ship I was going on. If it was a complete mystery, you don't know which cruise port you're going to, you don't know what ship you're getting on, that would be way harder because you would have to pack, your formal wear for a Cunard cruise and your casual wear for a Carnival cruise, and you'd have no idea. That would be not a good idea. I don't think anyone should do that because, you shouldn't do that. But the only mystery was the ports. But I knew the weather was probably going to be the same as it would be here. November, raincoat, jumper, jeans, shoes. Like, that was it. There's no chance of hot weather, really. And even if it was, you just take off your coat and your jumper and it would be fine. But I didn't need to pack any shorts or anything like that. Yeah, just like a £99 voucher mystery holiday. Exactly. Mystery cruise. How many times was I recognized on my mystery cruise? I don't really count, so I don't really know, but quite a lot. It tends to happen on, it's a very British cruise line. It's not, if I'm really far away, maybe people don't expect to see me there so much, but it's not weird that I'm there. So I probably met, I don't know, probably like between 5 and 10 new people a day, maybe. So something like that. And then I see the same people again, of course. They do tell you in advance of going, just not when booking. Yes, that's very different. This cruise, you book it, it just says a mystery. You don't find out anything. Do you sign more autographs or take more selfies? I've never been asked for an autograph or signed an autograph, but I do take selfies all over the place in the buffet and stuff. I'll always say yes to a picture. Like, if ever you see me, just totally cool. Just please ask me. Don't take a picture of me without knowing, because that's not going to be nice. And I don't like it when it ends up on Facebook groups and it's a picture of me and I don't know. Stress. Can I have an autograph, says Jamie? I'll have to work on making an autograph. I suppose I kind of do autographs when I send out my Christmas cards. So for those of you who are the Patreons and the channel members and you filled out the form, the Christmas cards are on the way. So now I've been asked. Thank you, Jamie. Next time I'm asked next week, then I will know that I've been asked once. And that's it. I need to keep an eye on the time today because I messed this up. But I don't think it's my fault. I'm not accepting the blame for it because I have done the same live stream for 5 years. And I came in here thinking it would be the same, but I'm in a box. And I can't press any buttons. Crazy. What about a calendar? Interesting. Now I've been asked. Yes, happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday. So this week, my sort of work week, office week is very much focused on the memberships on the Cruise Globe. And then it is going to be Black Friday next week. So that's going to be very, very, very busy. It's going to be very good. Very exciting. Can we influence Mela to go back to Norway? That would be great. I didn't know. I'd never seen them go to Norway, but I took my first Morella cruise. It was a nice 2-week Baltic cruise. That was lovely. They don't do that anymore. That was from the UK. Where is the most unique city you have viewership from? Good question. I don't know. The thing is, I can't see, I can only see the top 10 or something like that. So I'm sure there's one person who is in the most random place that you would never expect, who's just watching cruise content, because that's the wonder of the internet. Do you get starstruck when you see other famous YouTubers? Not even so much YouTubers. I'll literally be starstruck, if I talk to the cruise director, I'm like, oh, I'm generally quite starstruck, especially if, you've watched someone in a show and they're fantastic. And then I just think, this is amazing. Yeah, now I'm nervous. So I'm much more nervous of anything than anyone is of meeting me, I think. But yeah, for sure. Black Friday is the week after next here in the US. I mean, Black Friday is a very long period of time. It doesn't feel like the sales for Black Friday start next Friday, as far as I know. But I have seen some that have already started. So Black Friday is kind of this month, it feels like. But I need to get everything, all those videos you probably see on Instagram of my face, all of that stuff is scheduled up for the Cruise Maps adverts, which is very cool. It is cool. It is nice to get recognized for sort of that side of the business sometimes, rather than like, oh, I see your videos on Facebook or something, and I just think, oh, I'm sorry, because on Facebook, they're all cut down, they're edited, they've got funny music. If that's what you know me for, sorry. They're better on YouTube. They're better on YouTube. Black Friday has become a month forever. Yes, very true. Who has a signature anymore? What is there left to sign? Yeah, I haven't had to sign anything. I've never had a checkbook, so I've never had to sign anything like that. Yeah, don't know. I can't think of anything I sign. If anything I sign it online. We all just do everything on the computer now. But I never really understand. I don't really understand signatures anyway, because anyone can copy someone's signature. Did I ever do a cruise that starts from Rotterdam? I don't think I have, If I had my normal stuff and I could go on the computer at the same time, I would go on my cruise globe, I'd zoom in to Rotterdam. I've been there loads of times on cruises, but I don't think I've ever started from there. Don't think so. Do you put together all the YouTube shorts, or is that your brother's work? So I do all the short stuff, when you see a reel, when you see I put the short out about the Cruise Globe memberships today, that's me. I edit all that stuff. He does the long form videos, which is plenty. And I'd prefer him to be doing that rather than, I need that to come out. So we do have a video coming out on Monday. That's going to be my, Cruise Globe update. We try and do those sort of every 6 months. So we had one when we launched, and then this is the update on everything we've added, adding the countdowns and live data, all of that kind of stuff. My mum says she doesn't think I can. I have been, because it's quite hard to get to and you can't fly only from London City. Interesting. Yeah, I probably wouldn't choose it as an embarkation. If I could go to somewhere like Copenhagen, Barcelona, these are my top picks for starting a cruise. Will you finish at 6 still? I will. Because I have another thing to do after this. When I said earlier about us doing Cruise Globe membership, one of the perks of that is going to be a live stream that's kind of me and Matt and maybe other people from the team and, someone like Gary or something like that. But we're going to do that once a month. And I think the plan is after this live stream, because normally I have meetings and things after this live stream anyway. So we will just carry on and go to the other side. Any news on the next Hudson and Rolo release? Yes. So I saw the pictures. I've seen the designs. They have taken what I dreamed up and then they've made it nice, which is good. And I'm just going to get the samples and decide if I like them. I think I do like them. I'm not sure maybe if they're a bit too complicated, too many pieces, but we will see. Because this one, I think we went too fancy with this one because we had a much higher refund rate and return rate with this little like bow tie and bit at the front. And I don't want, obviously it's for charity. All of these are for charity. So I don't want people doing refunds. Obviously, if it's broken, refund it. They'll send you another one. But I really don't want them to have to do that because Yeah, it's just not good, is it? Whereas these ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've not had really any problems with them at all. And I think maybe we just went too many layers, too fancy with this one. So that's my only concern. But I'm going to get the samples, have a look at those, see how they work. And then my aim is February for them to be launched, because I think that's enough time between them. I'm hoping to get enough people on the wait list, for the next version. We do need to sell a certain amount. It's going to be a bundle of Hudson and Rolo. So one side goes to the charity Mercy Ships. The other one goes to the dog rescue where Rolo came from, Lucky's Legacy. And that's the plan. That is the plan. Fingers crossed. There should be February. So if you're not already on the wait list, just go emmacruises.com/waitlist. And it will only be 2 weeks maybe that you can buy them. So please don't miss out. Please don't miss out. Yes, it's a dual release. It is a duo. They have matching outfits. They go together only. And I think that's a good way to make money for both of the charities at the same time, because I care about them both. Could be Hudson and Rolo stuck in a water slide. If you want to get a tube, you could literally go to like a DIY store and get a see-through tube and put them in it. I'd like to see it. But I wouldn't like them to be stuck in there the whole time. I did see on Facebook today someone dressed up as a pirate and had Rolo like as the parrot. It was so cute. So super cute. Isn't it ironic that the fanciest is also the most dressed up, aka fanciest? Yeah, he is fancy, and he's very handsome, and he looks very good. They all look very good, I think. I really like this, how this one came out. I just think the detail... Rolo fell down. The detail on this one is so cute. It's good, isn't it? Yeah, Rolo fell off. Oops. Yes. My goodness. We have got 6 minutes left in this live stream. So if you have any questions, any quick fire questions, they don't have to be just cruise related. If you want to ask about YouTube or my t-shirt or anything you want to ask about, preferably a quick question, I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. It's funny, you can even see the microphone today. You can't normally see that. But I have had this microphone since I started my channel in 2017. Yeah, cats are always knocking things off shelves. Perfect. Yeah. An idea for a novel. Society has been overthrown after a beacon of hope named Emma sparks a revolution where her positivity inspires strangers to start performing random acts of kindness. Wow, that would be cool. Favorite t-shirt color? Not black. Definitely not black, because the amount of cat and dog fluff that gets stuck to a black t-shirt, I spend my whole day just peeling off bits of cat and dog fluff, which I'm guessing is there. If I'm wearing another color, I just can't see it. So who knows how much % fluff I normally am. But we have these ones in like a light gray kind of color. That is my favorite. Ooh, if you were given a blank check to design your own Emma Cruises signature suite on any ship, what would be the one must-have feature? A massive bath. Ideally with a view out the window, because the one that I had on board Norwegian Spirit, where I had a bath with a view, and you could watch us sail away from a bath. Oh, unforgettable. Kind of ruined everything else. But I did have on Fred Olsen the world's tiniest bath, and it was lovely. I appreciated it. I couldn't sit down and have my legs straight because the bath is not as long as my legs. I literally had to sit cross-legged in the bath, but I still appreciated it. I still liked it. Yeah. I do like the look of black clothing. It's just not practical. Yeah. Did you get a new phone? I know you were sick of your iPhone. I did. I got a new iPhone. There's just no other company that has cameras as good as I need. Almost all my content is filmed on my iPhone. So we have another one. Maybe not forever, but while I'm filming YouTube videos with it, I do have it. And I do like it. And I didn't get the max version this time, so it's a bit smaller, which is good. And I'm happy with it. But yeah. It's not that different from the other phone. I wouldn't, unless you're filming YouTube videos and your entire business relies on it, don't think you need to upgrade. Gotta be honest. Any new books coming out before Christmas? It was the plan to have one coming out before Christmas, but I don't know if that's going to happen just because so much other stuff has been happening. Fingers crossed. Do you work with other cameras? I pretty much don't anymore. So right now the webcam is an iPhone. 99% maybe of my YouTube content is filmed on the iPhone. I have the Insta360, the camera that's on a stick, which I quite like. But that's only really, I didn't take that on my last cruise, for example. It only really is worth it if you have blue skies, maybe you have a balcony, that kind of thing. And that was not the Fred Olsen cruise that I took, because it's November and it was Northern Europe. I will say we did have a lot of fog, and it did keep the mystery, because even when we were docked, you couldn't really see where you were. So that was pretty cool. They were doing some work on board too, because before our cruise was the dry dock, it got delayed because of some bad weather. Luckily, we still were able to board, because they could have cancelled the whole cruise, which would have been very sad. But they were still fixing things out the back of the ship. So I like to see like the building works over the few days. We didn't miss out on the extra outside space. It was definitely not an outside kind of weather cruise, but be interested to see how it is done, because I was checking in on it every day. Have I tried M&S peppermint bark cookies? No, that sounds interesting. That sounds pretty cool. Oh, this has been the first time I watched your stream with the chat on. It's been fun. Thanks, Emma. Thank you very much. This has been fun. I hope you don't mind that it all looks a bit weird, but that's just how things go sometimes. It's still good fun though, right? It's still good fun. Oh, as an American, oh, okay. I love getting your take on cruising as a British female. Thank you. I think that's what, I find it really interesting to learn about different countries and different things. And so every so often someone will say something and it just makes you think, what? That's not how it is everywhere. Like I was speaking to someone in America and they said that you guys get taxed on, if you win the lottery, you get taxed on it. That's crazy. We don't get taxed on winnings. I don't know how that works. How does that work? Does anyone know how that works? Like in the casino and stuff on cruises? Do you get taxed on that? Hope not. Always fun. Yes, thank you so much. I really enjoy these live streams. It was definitely not the plan to do these for so long. The plan was to come home from work for 2 weeks in 2020. That was the plan. That was what I was promised. And then, pandemic happened and we never went back. So that was cool. Interesting. You're taxed on casino. Oh my goodness. Crazy. But these are the kinds of things that you would never know, right? And you just have random conversations with people and it's really interesting. Crazy. My goodness. How interesting. All right. Okay. So that is the end of our live stream today. I am going to be live next week at the usual time, which is when all of our Black Friday sort of deals start at Cruise Map. So that'll be pretty cool. And yeah, same time, we're back in the same time zone again. We were a bit different because of the US and the UK, but back to normal. So 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern next Friday, and the Friday after, very normal live streams. All right. So I'm going to get to work on the mystery cruise content. I hope you love it when it comes out. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you for dealing with the tech problems, and hopefully everything will be fixed next week. All right. Bye.